Hi, everybody, and welcome. Today, I am talking to one of my dearest friends, one of my soul sisters, and just absolutely adore her. She is the co-CEO and co-founder of Mind Movies, which is a huge, huge success, and even been featured in Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, because she's revolutionary and she's visionary and she's breaking down barriers. And today we're going to have a really real conversation about what it takes to really chase your dreams, to have the vision and to hold the outcome in your mind when everything around you seems to be crumbling, but just to keep that faith and keep moving forward. Because anybody that I've ever met who's ever had any kind of success has had struggle, has come to their knees, has thought, am I doing the right thing? Is this going to work? But the thing that brings people apart of people who've had success and people who have not had that success is just that ability to stick with it, keep the faith, and move through. So, Nat, thank you so much for being on this. I know that your life is super full right now, and I really, really appreciate you carving out the time.
That's an absolute pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to sharing my story because I think that if I could get through the crap that I had to get through, then I think it can give inspiration to others. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm.
So let's dive in. So you and your husband Glenn, many years ago, started this idea of Mind Movies, and at the time, before AI, before all of this stuff became available to us, this was revolutionary stuff. So can you just talk us through what brought you this idea, and what made you think that the world needed it?
Well, this is 2006. So, in Australia, we weren't really spending any time online. In the US, it might have been a little bit different, but in Australia, no one was spending time hanging out in Google and stuff online. At the time, Glenn, who was my husband at the time, he and I had four different businesses we were running at the same time. So we were action takers. We knew exactly, we just got to get, bite off more than we could chew, then chew like hell. That was our motto. But I noticed I had one day where I'm looking at my bills and I'm looking at my bank account and going, wait a minute, why? I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I had been a student of personal development since I was 21. One of my bosses gave me a set of cassettes by Brian Tracy, and I was like, oh, everyone should know about this stuff. So I knew how to, have a positive mindset, how to set goals, how to take action, all that kind of thing. But I'm like, I'm missing something because otherwise we'd be in a way better place than this. So a friend of mine suggested that I go online and order a DVD called The Secret. So that's when, Saturday afternoon, Glenn and I are sitting in our living room. We started watching this movie, and we're both just looking at each other, going, like, how did we miss this? Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
did I miss this? Like, it was
Yeah.
crazy. And I think that for Glenn, it was all about. It was easy for him to visualize what we wanted in the future. Like he was very good at that. But what he was missing was actually adding emotion to his
Mm,
visualizations, which is really what you feel is more important than what you see when you visualize, because your emotions are the frequency you're sending out into the unified field, right? So
mm.
whatever's the vibrational match comes back to you. My thing was that I had to know the whole plan. If I didn't have every step laid out, I just didn't believe that I could create it. And so
Yeah.
it was like, oh, you don't need to know the whole plan. You just need to know the next step and have a very clear vision of where you're ending up, and then things will start to fall into place. I'm like, oh, okay, now I've got that. So yeah, so we, started writing out all these affirmations. One of the businesses we had was a network marketing business. And so I'm like, right, it's the first business we had that wasn't brick and mortar, that, I could see that I could leverage my time. So I'm writing out affirmations like, and I get to travel the world, and I speak on stage, and I work on the beach with a laptop, and I work my own hours, and all of those kind of things. Anyway, through that network marketing business, we met a guy called Ryan. And Ryan came to us one day and showed us this little video that he had created, which was his version of a vision board. So if you've seen The Secret, John Assaraf, who is a good friend of ours now, talks about how he had created these vision boards, put them in a box, moved into this new house, took it out and realized
Yes.
it was the
Yes.
actual house.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, so this little video that Ryan put together was PowerPoint slides that had affirmations written on them, photos that matched the affirmations in between the PowerPoint slides, and then a song on top. And I still get goosebumps when I think about it. And his mind movie, we started to call them mind movies then, was, he's 30 something single guy, hot girls, cars, things, nothing that I really resonated with. But I understood how powerful this thing was, like just from the
Mm.
first time that I saw it. And then he approached Glenn and I and said, "Look, I want to go to business with you guys. Let's set up a website. Let's sell the instructions so people around the world can make these movies for themselves." The Secret had just been on Oprah. Everyone was talking about law of attraction. We're like, okay, well, this could be a good thing. And I said, the only problem is that we're busy because we've got 4 businesses. I said, and we don't know anything about the internet, like nothing. Glenn could hardly turn on a computer. I used a computer for bookkeeping and I knew how to use Word. That's it, He goes, "It's all right, I'll teach you." So yeah, we created this little video. This was the initial investment in this business. $800 for someone to build the website, $1,200 for a video camera, because like we need to do a video, because then we heard
Mm.
about YouTube, and I'm like, so we created this video, which as I look back, I'm like, ooh, would it be totally illegal? We put, used YouTube music and had the beginning of I Dream a Genie in there and all the stuff that we had not permission to use, but we didn't know
Yeah.
what we were
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
But that one little video that we put on YouTube, like the first day, you know, nothing happened. Second day, we had 3 sales. 3 people paid money to buy the instructions to make these mind movies. It was, I'm like, but how are they finding us with the millions of videos that are there? Like, I still was trying to wrap my head around it. And so we had about 20 sales the first week,
Wow.
and we
That's
didn't know
pretty
what to
significant.
charge. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't know what to charge. $20, it's air. It's like it's not even tangible. This is how we kind of didn't really understand what we were doing. But within a few months, we had that many emails coming in from people going, "This is changing my life."
Wow.
And I'm like, "Boys, we need to figure out this internet thing. How do we do this thing?" And so we ended up buying a program that taught you how to, send out emails and how to, market online. It was a guy, Frank Kern was the guy who put this program together. So we bought it. It was $2,000 investment, which was a lot for us back then, and we, wasn't sure whether it was a scam or not. We implemented the first idea in module 1 of that program and made our money back in the first week. And I'm
Wow.
like, and this was a 4 email campaign to sell your product for 50% off. And we're
Wow.
charging $20. So
Wow. That's crazy.
it was crazy. So we're like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. And then he announced he was doing a live event in April of 2008 in San Diego. So all right, let's do this. Let's go over. Let's, let's figure out what we need to do to launch this to the world. Like we knew that we were onto something, good here. So we went to that seminar. We were accepted into Frank's mastermind group. He announced he was doing his first ever mastermind group, and I'm writing this compelling reason why we had to apply for it. And I'm writing this compelling reason, and I'm very excited. And the guys are sitting next to me. They're going, "Well, we can't really afford it. It was $2,700 a month, and we weren't making that much money out of the website." And so I had to get up and start walking away. And Glenn goes, "Where are you going?" I go, "Are you kidding me?" I go, "This is why we're here. We need to align ourselves with this guy. He's going to teach us everything that we know. It's going to fast track, our whole success here." So we got accepted, which was great. I go, "We'll figure out the money." Our figuring out the money was racking up a lot of credit card debt.
Mm.
So anyway, over the next 5 months, we're in this little apartment in San Diego. It was summer when we got there, so we're like, we didn't like everything was so expensive, and then we found something that was really lovely and cheap. We're like, "Why is this so cheap? I don't get it." And then we realized within a few minutes that it was underneath the flight path of San Diego Airport.
Oh no.
But I'm like, "Oh, the windows are double glazed. That means we can make some noise." And they go, "Wait a minute, why are they double glazed?" And then the plane comes over the top.
Wow.
So yeah, so we had constant airport noise, which wasn't too bad. But when we were trying to record a video, you should see, like, we didn't have money. We only were there on credit cards. And so even like our teleprompter, it was an old microphone stand that Ryan and his dad found at the tip. and they welded a 10 by 8 picture frame on an angle so we could put a piece of glass in it. Then we put, a wire coat hanger with a black clock with pegs so that we could sit it next to a laptop with a candlestick and a mirror at the right angle so that we could, like, we MacGyvered this thing.
Yeah.
Every time we tried to record a video, we had the lights that you buy from the hardware store that are as hot as the sun. So, and we didn't have any air conditioning. And so, Ryan's there, he's sweating bullets, so we're like, go. So he'd be like, talking. Then we hear a plane, okay, stop. So then we turn off the lights, we turn on the fans, we're patting him down, put the makeup on. Okay, the plane's gone. All right, go. So lights go back on, fans go off, 30 takes to get a video done because of all the airport noise, which was crazy. And then when we went to do like a tele seminar in the lead up to this, it was too noisy at the apartment. So the three of us are in this little Mustang that we'd, rented in a suburban street. Like this is someone's, like the suburbs. And the
Yeah.
three of us looking dodgy as hell, sitting in the car. We can't have the air conditioning on because it's too loud. So we're like sweating and we're doing this call and we're all on speakerphone doing this teleseminar. So these are the things that we like. For us, the whole thing was whatever the challenge is, we'll figure it out. Okay, so this is us, building and learning, and the good thing was it was that the mastermind, not only we're learning from Frank, but we're learning from everybody else in that group. Even the friends that we made were all internet marketers, so even in a social situation, we were learning and we were sponges. And then we start to get close to the business end. Like we're starting to get close to the launch now, and we've got it scheduled for September of 2008. Which, we didn't know until a couple of days beforehand. That's also when the economic crisis hit the planet and everyone in the US is losing their homes and losing their jobs and losing everything, losing their money. And we had no idea. And we now have $120,000 on credit cards just to launch this thing. And so when we realize, like, what does this mean? Like it could have gone either way. So we're getting close. And with the launch, you have 1 week where people are sending out emails, like affiliates are sending out emails, because if they're promoting us, and any sales that they make, we give them a 50% commission. And so we had all these different videos and content and things. Now our list went from 8,000 to 80,000 in a week. And it grew that quickly that the email delivery system, a company that had our list, was convinced we were doing something illegal, so they just shut the account down because they'd never seen a list grow that quickly. So we had to get Frank on the call on the phone to get it reinstated. Then so that happened, and then we're getting towards the morning of the launch, and we didn't open the shopping cart until 9 o'clock on the Monday, right? But we've got 80,000 people, so we're like, okay, we need to stagger the traffic, otherwise it's going to crash the server. So we had scheduled emails to go out, in increments, people getting an early bird pass and all that kind of thing. But this said company decided to shut down for maintenance the morning of the launch. So not only could we not stagger the traffic, and luckily we didn't crash the server, affiliates, most of our affiliates were using the same company, so their emails weren't getting through. And all of our people that purchased were not getting their confirmation email that they had made a purchase, even though they paid with their credit card. So then by lunchtime, we had 3,000 customer support emails because everyone's like, are you scammers? What the hell? Blah, blah, blah. And we're just like,
God.
So, so we had everyone come over in the afternoon to help clear that backlog of, because I was customer support. I was like, help with this. But in the end, we ended up doing we did $100,000 in the first hour.
Wow.
And the program now is like $97, and it was some CDs and stuff. And I think we ended up on 288,000 the first day, at the end of the first day. And then at the end of the launch, it was like we did a $700,000 launch.
Wow.
But it doesn't end there, folks, because we had to use PayPal because we're Aussies and we don't have bank account details and things here. So PayPal also saw this unusual activity and went, oh, this has got to be something dodgy, and shut down the account. So then we got back on we got on the phone with them, and they reinstated it so that we could still accept sales, but they weren't letting us get to the money. And so in the end, they ended up releasing 200,000 because we had to pay the team, and we had to pay postage because we were sending out, as you can imagine, was $10,000 just in postage.
Mm.
Um, and then every time they said they were going to release the funds, they would change their mind for 6 months.
Oh,
And we have to pay our affiliates, all the people that promoted us, we've got to pay them 50% of the sales that they made. But the money's sitting in an account that we can't get to. $500,000 just sitting there.
wow.
So once we got back to Australia, we were able to through Glenn's dad, get a little bit of a loan so that we could pay them some, and we kept everyone up to date with what was going on. But we nearly went bankrupt over that because we got all the credit
Oh,
cards and we got everything else.
God.
And so yeah, part of our mastermind, one of the other members she was a lawyer. Her name was Denise, and she went to town on PayPal finally for us, and the money was released the next day.
Unreal.
So it definitely made us stronger for sure. Like it was, I think we had moments where you go, what if this doesn't work? Like we've just dug ourselves into this big hole. If it doesn't work, how are we going to dig out of this? So it was, I think it was great to have someone else, like the three of us. We were like, well, if we can get through this, we can get through anything. But it was great because at least if one of us was having a moment, at least the other two could go, it's okay, we've got this. And Glenn and I have been like that with each other for forever. So we separated in 2013, at the end of 2013, and it was mutual, and we were kind of cool. And I was definitely heading into a completely different direction, being part of transformational leader groups, and especially with the content and things that I was making, and I changed. Gleno, bless him, is pretty much the same person. Which is fine, which is great, but we realized that we were sort of going in different directions, but we remained business partners, and we're still business partners today. So actually, Glenn and I have been in business together for 30 years in all
Wow.
different kinds of businesses.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is like you had the awareness of manifesting. You then got the awareness of adding the emotion into manifesting. And then what I'm hearing as well that you didn't directly articulate, but you've heavily implied, is that inspired action piece.
Yeah.
Because I think some people get stuck in the first two. They know what they want and they visualize it. They add the emotion, but there's no action to actually bring it about. This inspired action, and then that's really important. But what really strikes me about your story is taking inspired action, even in the dark, messy cave where you're thinking, is there a way out here? Where's the light? Like I feel like I'm in the right place, but where's the exit? Like I really want the exit now. And so my question to you is, what kind of inner work did you have to do to show up in this way? What kind of focus did you have to keep reminding yourself of? Because I know that anybody that I've ever spoken to that's created anything of significance has been through that dark night of the soul, and that, oh my God, what am I doing? And just keeping going and pushing through. What is it that you were able to do for yourself? Because I know in the world right now, and I'm going to come on to your new venture in a minute, because I think that's really, really important for the world right now as an extension of Mind Movies. But I feel like there are so many people going through really intense, challenging times simultaneously. So not only have they got their own personal challenge to navigate through, but like the collective consciousness and vibration and energy right now is a lot. So you're not just dealing with your own stuff, you're like trying to manage all of this big stuff around you as well. And you've been through like really ridiculously crazy challenges to create what you created. So what is it that you were able to do for yourself when you had these moments of overwhelm and fear, I'm assuming, to just be able to carry yourself through, because I feel like that's the place that a lot of people go, I can't, like, I need to I just can't do this, it's too much.
Yeah.
So what is the key?
Well, there's a couple of things. Number one, you want to have a really clear vision of where it is that you're going, because that's what motivates you to keep going.
Mm.
You know, we created a mind movie around that launch, and we talked about, the amount of money that we wanted to make, the amount of customers that we had, what the business looked like. We're only going to be working 6 hours a day because we were working between 10 and 12 hours a day to launch this thing.
Yeah.
We were going to have a team, so we didn't have to do all the, the legwork, and we'd have this idea and put it to the team, and it would happen. So we had a very clear vision of what that was, and we watched that mind movie at least twice a day. And we were all on the same page. Glenn, myself, Ryan, we were all watching that. So being clear about where you're going, it helps you to go, well, I have the motivation to keep moving through. Now, you are going to have moments where you feel a little crushed or overwhelmed by the challenge that you're facing. Especially if it's financial. So we would look at, I'd spend moments there where I'd be like, oh, this is feeling heavy, this is feeling bad, and just, acknowledge it, because you don't want to Pollyanna your way through, like,
Yeah, yeah, toxic
spiritual
positivity. Yeah.
bypassing and all that kind of stuff. No. It's important that you feel these emotions. And then, of course, the next thing I do is go, okay, well, how are we moving through this? What is the action I'm taking? Because the action does help with the lower frequency emotions. The action, because you doing something and moving yourself forward. You're in motion. So it's helping to move those lower frequency emotions through, so that you can focus on the job at hand. And doing something, it really does help to shift that energy. The other thing is that what we used to do, and this is something that was really important, because when you focus too much on the challenge, what we focus on expands. So we know that if we keep focusing on that, then all we're doing is seeing that, and all we're doing is creating more of that. And so what we used to do back then is, when we were all particularly stressed, we'd just get in the car, we go and get a coffee, and then we'd drive down to the dog beach, because we were staying at Ocean Beach in San Diego. And so this dog beach, all the dogs are off lead, and they're running around and got smiles on their faces and things. And we're just like, we had left our two little dogs at home. So even just watching the dogs playing was enough to get me out of that low, that nauseous gut feeling, and start to feel a little happier and start to feel a little better. And then we used to play this game that we talk and have this conversation as if the launch was already over and it was a great success. And we're talking about where we're going to take our families on holidays, and what amazing restaurants we're going to eat at, and where we're going to go, and all these kind of things. And we would just play with it. And I said before, our emotions, the frequency that we send out into the universe. And so your emotional energy is something that you really want to be aware of. Self-awareness is really important, and you want to guard it. So you do whatever you have to do to get yourself into that higher frequency. And to be honest with you, back then, I think because it was the three of us and we were in there working together, it kind of felt like if it was just me, that would have been tough. But the other thing that we also did is we were very intentional about surrounding ourselves with the right people, because even when everything was going wrong, we had enough validation from people who knew, people who we respected, who knew that we were onto something big. And they were the ones that kept us going, don't worry, guys. Even the night before we were opening up the sales cart, the shopping cart the next morning, we were at dinner and we were with Frank, and he said, guys, he goes, it doesn't even matter what happens tomorrow. He goes, you've just built yourself an 80,000 list. He goes, now you have a business. So he goes, congratulations, because regardless of what happens, you've made it. you know.
Yeah.
So having the right people that can give you the right, feedback and validation and support is important as well, because no one's an island.
Yeah.
And anyone, I'm sure, if you've heard the stories of people who've struggled, the worst part of the struggle is when they're by themselves.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's really it's harder, and I call them mood disruptors. So, what my situation is, I'm often alone, and if I find that funk, you've influenced me heavily through the gratitude piece, because I know you're very passionate about gratitude,
Mm.
and I talk about mood disruptors, so I can put on a piece of music from when I was 18, and I'm back there in my little yellow car, and I'm bombing it up and down to uni, and I'm a badass, and I'm ready to take on the world, and I can shift my emotions and my mood. But also the gratitude piece for me, I've really started to implement that solidly recently. I mean, I've always been semi doing it, but I've really, really doubled down because of what I'm trying to build. So, I mean, I really need my vibration to be high. I can see the vision, but sometimes the circumstances don't always reflect the vision, but then you feel totally supported. So you think, it's not here yet, but I feel like it is coming, and all of those things. And one of the things is, like, the other night, every night I write in my gratitude diary now, every single night. And then by writing in my gratitude diary, I actually do feel thankful for the things I'm writing down for. It's not just a bland activity. Like, I actually do feel it. And like the other night, I was really grumpy. I was really grumpy and tired. But I was like, I am determined to keep this streak, is what my kids call it, this streak. And so in semi light, I wrote in my gratitude diary, and it was maybe only 3 things instead of 10 things that I normally do. But I was determined to keep that streak. Like, I'm still, yeah, I'm grumpy today, but I'm still grateful. Do you know what I mean? Grumpy and grateful. You can be grumpy and grateful. But I think what what you're talking to here is, it really needs to resonate with the audience, in the fact that you have to be able to manifest from the dark places too.
Mm.
And that's tougher. But without that, you can't wait till everything's shiny to be able to activate these moods and activate these resources and these. I like going to the dog park to go, I'm going to inject myself into joy right now, because the dogs are just playing, they're in their bliss. It's amazing. They don't have any expectation of anything. This is the best day of their lives, even though they did it yesterday. Do you know what I mean? Like, being with animals is very cool. Cats, no, because everything to cats is like, is this the best you can do? Like, I've been here all week. Is that what you could do? But dogs are like pure joy. And so I feel like this is really important for people to hear, because a lot of people are going through the chrysalis, as I call it. You go from caterpillar to butterfly, the magic happens inside the chrysalis. And
Yeah.
so what you're saying is, keep the vision, keep believing. And I think the key point for what you said there, particularly for me, is to surround yourself with people who are going to refresh your energy and vibration, not contaminate it. And
Yeah.
I've become super, super clean about this in the last few years, where I just do not tolerate anybody contaminating my little bubble of joy, because I know the impact that can have on what I can create.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, for me it's and finding the right people. Like even with business. Like, I'm very fortunate. Glenn and I, like I said, 30 years. That's a long time to be in business with someone. And still love them. And still we trust each other more than any other person on the planet, even after all this time. I feel very, very fortunate, because not many people get that.
Mm.
And with the new project, with the relief app, my girlfriend that I've teamed up with that app, like, when we get together, sparks fly. Like, we are resonating at a completely different level, and this has been challenging too. Like,
Mm.
we created the app a year and a half ago, and trying to get this thing off the ground has been challenging. And we've been talking to schools, and we've done online campaigns, and for some reason it just wasn't clicking. I couldn't get it. I'm like, well, what's happening here? And we've just been through a couple of really tough years, especially, well, here in the US. It's been crazy. And you think that you're just getting on top of things, and then the price change, or an algorithm changes, or the president, says there's going to be tariffs, and then, next thing you know, the bottom falls out of everything. So it's been very challenging, and especially when you know that what you have is gold.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
that this is going to help a lot of people, and it's just like and when these things are happening, like when everything was going against us, seemingly going against us, during the launch, and even now, how challenging it's been to get this app up off the ground. I can get frustrated and impatient. That's part of my personality. And but I also, when I feel that, I stop for a moment. I go, okay, what I know to be true is this is happening for me. If it hasn't happened yet, it's not meant to have happened yet. So let's take stock. What do I need to learn? What do I need to, what do I, is there something I need to do differently? Like I'll reassess. And then sometimes it's just like, it's just not time yet,
Mm.
and so knowing that is one thing. Embodying that is a completely different thing.
Yeah.
But if you can embody that, then what that's doing is also helping you to stay in your higher frequency emotions. And really, this is where we need to live most of the time.
Mm.
And these days, whew, isn't that a challenge?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But we want to stay there most of the time, because when we're at that higher frequency, not only are we attracting all the things that we need, we're attracting the things that we didn't even know we needed, because
Mm.
we're just at that level. So it's but what, a year and a half. And then I was just telling you beforehand, we did a little campaign. We're shutting down one of our My Movies apps, and I'm like, well, this could be a good opportunity to tell people about the new app. And of course, we sent out a few emails. We've had 3,000 people already come in, because I
Mm.
believe, like My Movies back in 2008, it was a low price point, and it was this cool little tool that you could use that was going to give you hope and give you vision for the future. And a lot of people
Mm.
needed that,
Yeah.
because the arse had fallen out of everything. And so now when I look at the Relief app, this is all around emotional well-being,
Mm.
helping you with your emotional regulation, using AI to be able to measure your emotional energy through the frequency of your voice, and then be able to give you like easy, doable things to be able to shift your emotions, and giving you education, and even a little guide that you can talk to if you don't have anyone to talk to in that moment, but you really need to process and work through the emotions that you're feeling. Even those kind of little tools that we have inside this app, people really need it right now. And I was inside the app this morning, and I'm looking at all the reasons that people have joined our new, it's Chaos to Calm 21-day challenge. And things like, I am death scrolling on social media, and I know that it's really, damaging my emotional health, and I can't stop myself. Or, I
Mm.
want to not be able to snap at the kids. I want to be able to regulate myself so that if they're not doing what I ask them to, then I don't get upset with them. I think that we all at the moment, well, let's not go down the how we're being emotionally manipulated by social media platforms, but a lot of us aren't aware of that. So, and I definitely getting triggered by a lot of crazy current events right now.
Mm.
So, yeah. So I believe
What
that this again is just the right price point at the right time. It's the right tool that everyone can benefit from.
what I love about the Relief app is through my past experience. So as a person, I call it danced with depression, which is
Mm,
why I'm very aware, why I do the mood disruptors, why I do my practices, because I know that if I'm not vigilant, I can fall into depression quite easily. I can spiral.
mm,
And what the biggest thing for me when I was in depression, 20 years ago, when I had my kids, I fell into a depression. And I had all this training, all of this experience, all of these professional qualifications. So I knew logically what I needed to do to get myself out, but I just was so depleted, I couldn't take any action to help myself. It was
right.
complete apathy.
Mm,
And so what I love about the Relief app is all you need to do is show up. If you show up, the app will guide you. The app will be your support. The app will pinpoint for you. So you don't have to work it out, right? You just
right.
need to show up. You need to show up and be supported. And you might not even be feeling it. Like when I wrote in my gratitude diary the other way, grateful and grumpy. I'm going to write in my gratitude diary. But, doing the practices, showing up. And with the Relief app, what I love is you just need to show up and it does everything for you. It identifies, okay, these are the areas we can focus on. These are resources. These are the practices. This is how we can support you for a very, very low investment. Because as you know, one of my passions, which is what we're doing through the Backyard Peace Project, is making really good quality mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical wellness affordable and accessible. Because one of the most challenging things that we have as families, and we're a large family, and I know a lot of large families and people doing it really tough right now, is being able to access decent support for the whole family. And the Relief app does that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how are you going to get yourself out of the hole if you
Yeah.
can't shift your emotions?
Yeah. And here's the thing, like if you're doing a little daily check-in, and that's really just counting to 15 into your phone, and then you get all your report and things that you can do. And even if you didn't do those things, like even some of like the breathwork videos, I'm like I was because I'm doing it myself. I'm taking myself through the challenge, even though I created the challenge. I'm going through as a participant, and some like the little breathwork videos are just fun. They're easy. You don't even have to get out of bed. You could just do your check-in, do the little breath work, and then you'll find that's starting to make you feel better. Or you can have a little chat with Sage, and Sage is our in-app guide. And so you can talk to Sage about what you're feeling, what you're going through, and Sage will help to navigate the conversation so you understand what it is that you're feeling, why you're feeling it, but then what you can do to shift it. You don't even have to get out of bed for that, but I'm sure that if you do a couple of these little things, it'll give you the energy to get out of bed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I love that because we often think it's so big, it's this big monster, right? But the saying is, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? So
Yeah.
the little things is the little habits and routines is what we build our whole lives upon.
Yeah.
And so it's really about shifting the habits. Instead of doom scrolling, you go on the Relief app and you get all of these gorgeous things that are going to support you and lift your mood and support you in going through life. And also you don't, yes, we want to live in the high vibration as much as we can, but also we need to learn how to shift ourselves out of that low vibration because we can still reach success from there.
Yeah.
It just might take a couple of steps, but we can still, it's not all doom and gloom. We can take each incremental step and get to that place.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and you're not expected to go from feeling depressed or feeling gray or feeling down to joy. That's not the step. Like there's a lot
exactly.
of emotions that you will be feeling on the way to joy. Like
Yeah.
you'll go from feeling, sad or feeling depressed to feeling neutral. That's
Yeah.
still
Which is a
going in the right
relief.
direction. Yeah.
That's a
Well,
relief.
yes. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And it is. I mean, when you're feeling any kind of emotion that we label as negative, and I believe, as you do, that we need to feel all the emotions. We just don't necessarily want to stay there. We need to
Exactly. Yes.
okay, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving.
Visit, have the little
Yeah.
feeling, and then go, okay.
Yeah, get a fridge magnet. I'm
Yeah.
done. Um, but at the end of the day, it is about that keep continuous evolving, continuous shifting. And I think sometimes there's the tendency to get stuck and think, well, this is it for me now. This is where I am. But it's not like it. I mean, everything, like when you tell your story about Mind Movies and everything like that, everything was logically against you. I
Everything.
mean, everything
Yeah.
seemed to be going wrong. Like, and the only thing that kept going was you three in the middle. Like, go, keep going. Come on, I think there's a break in the cloud there. Let's chase the sunshine. And that's all that you did was just keep moving, keep moving. And that belief of this is serving me to the higher good, that can be challenging to get to that belief in those moments. But I genuinely believe that is the only thing that can take you through it is hope. Just keep hoping, you just keep moving.
Yeah.
So,
And part of what helps to create that hope is your forward momentum, is you doing something. Because if you're sitting and you're stagnant, then, all you're doing is looking at the challenge. That's not going to get you out of the challenge. That's, there has to be some kind of forward motion to be able to, to help to shift that. Because when you have belief and expectation, and the other thing that helps to build your belief and expectation is visualizing. I said, yes, know where it is that you want to end up. And I encourage you to make a mind movie, because it is fun and it is cool, and you watch it every day, and it's easy for you to see yourself in that future, and the music helps you to get in the right emotional state. And it's just, it's a fantastic tool for that. And then you want to be able to see yourself, already living this life. And what I teach, which I got from working with Dr. Joe Dispenza, you just think of a moment that you will experience when you have created this wealth, or you're in this amazing relationship, or you've got this amazing health and you're feeling fantastic. Think of one thing that you'll be doing. And then when you visualize it, rather than seeing yourself as a character in a movie, you actually immerse yourself in the moment as if it's happening now. So, what are you tasting? What are you touching? What do you smell? What do you hear? And when you elicit all of your senses, you're talking to all the different layers of the body. All the different layers of the mind. But you're making this so real. And of course, the other is, what are you feeling emotionally? Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. It actually thinks this is happening. And so it starts to create these new neural pathways in your mind with all these thoughts in alignment with this amazing, moment that you've created. Now, the more that you do that, the more that you change your thoughts automatically change your actions. You're already feeling like you've already got it. And so, now you're like this big magnet for everything that needs to be attracted to you for it to happen. And the other thing is that you really on this journey want to be making sure that you are aware and are grateful and acknowledge all the little things that fall into place for you, which weren't necessarily you, was definitely the universe or source energy or whatever, dropping everything in your path to help make this happen for you.
Yeah. And I liken it to a joke, actually, that I heard. And it was this guy is in the middle of the ocean and he needs rescuing, and he says, God, please rescue me. And a fisherman comes past and he says, no, it's okay, God will save me. And then a bigger passenger boat comes past and he says, no, it's okay, God will save me. And then this tanker goes past, no, God will save me. And he drowns, and he goes to heaven. He said, God, why didn't you save me? And he said, I sent you 3 boats. What do you want? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I feel like sometimes we miss those smaller pieces to be grateful for, to acknowledge, like the person that you bump into in the coffee shop, and the random introduction you get from a friend, and you end up, it's an amazing opportunity, or whatever it is. The magic is in those moments.
Yeah.
But if you're not on the frequency of receiving those moments, they just fly right by, and then you don't take the inspired action, and then you don't get the results that you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. This is why, when you're doing a gratitude journal, I also, we can also make that an evidence journal, and you're writing down all these things and you're acknowledging them, because, it's when you realize that these things are showing up for you, you're like, oh, okay, this stuff really does work. Okay. And that helps to build your belief. And you got to have that to be able to manifest what it is that you want.
Totally. I'm going to ask you a little bit of a confronting question, because I feel like I can get away with it.
Okay.
When you were growing to this level, and it really is an exceptional level, do you know what I mean? Like, your network is incredible. What you've built is incredible. Was there a point where you had to release people, habits, experiences from your life to be able to step into your new level of power?
Yeah, well, my marriage is one of them. And I think not only were we kind of growing in different directions, but, Glenn and I, the reason that we've done so well in business together is that we have our own departments and we have our own roles. And we don't really interfere with each other's things. And it's, thank God, he's good at marketing and I'm good at content. So I'm like, it's a marriage made in heaven. But Glenn was always the driver of the business, and so I never stepped into that role because I didn't have to, and even after all these years, Glenn still is the driver of the business. But that was holding me back. I'm like, I don't feel like I can really spread my wings and really step into my greatness because I'm just the content creator. Now, partly some of that was just in my mind, let's be honest. That wasn't really happening. Glenn is my number one cheerleader, so that was never the case. But this is the story that I was telling myself. And I think sometimes we can, if the story that you're telling yourself is that I can't do something because of something outside of me,
Mm-hmm.
and you're blaming the economy or your business partner or your husband or whatever, um, you're setting yourself up for heartache because, I mean, Glenn got the blame for everything at the end of my marriage. Like, I was like, he's the reason I'm overweight because I'm not happy, and, I can't spread my wings, and I can't step into my greatness, and blah, 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 blah. And then, we separated, and I'm like, oh, well, I can't blame him anymore. I lost my scapegoat. And I'm like, shit, if I don't make this happen, that's all on me. And then I realized, shit, it was always, always on me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What I
Yeah.
love about you guys, though, is I know, and I'm sure you won't mind me sharing, that recently, like I came to stay with you last year, which is always a great fun time, and we'll never release all of the photographs publicly. And you guys just have this beautiful appreciation of each other and what you bring to each other's lives. And I know that you recently had quite a big conversation where it was just pure love and gratitude and respect and honoring what each other brought to his eyes. And I just think that's beautiful because unless we can acknowledge the gifts that other people in our lives bring to us, we can't fully realize our own gifts.
Hmm. Absolutely. Um, but the thing is, I think part of that is that when you have the ability to acknowledge that and feel that about someone else, you yourself have to be at a certain elevated emotional state to be able to do that.
Mm, mm,
So it is a gift both ways. Like,
yes.
it's a gift because I get to be in that emotional energy, and sharing with Glenn, like, how much I appreciate everything that he's done, because he's always been that foundation, that support. There are so many things in my life I never have to worry about because Glenn's
Mm,
got it. And we
yeah,
haven't been a
yeah,
couple for 12 years.
yeah, yeah,
We've been business partners, but and still he still shows up like that for me, which
yeah.
is just amazing. It's crazy. Um, and he does it because, I don't know, he doesn't have to do it at all.
Mm, mm,
Um, but I think that says a lot about the relationship that we have.
mm,
My podcast, which is not current at the moment, but it was called Not Over, Just Different, and it really does describe our relationship. You know, it just morphed into
mm,
something different, and something that worked for both of us. We've both grown and spread our wings, and really expanded as a result.
mm.
So, mm,
I do feel that that's such a great example because one of your good friends, Lisa Nichols, I remember once heard her speak and she was saying, the door is only wide enough for you to go through. You can't take everybody with you. You can come back and visit them if that's what it's meant to be, but you can only go through yourself. And I do feel that's what holds a lot of people back from their greatness is their trying to bring everybody with them. And sometimes it's just reasons and seasons, and you can release back to the world with love. And, you've got to prioritize what's most important, your own growth, or trying to stay where you are, because you can't be both. You can't stay where you are and have all of the new growth and experience and success that you're wanting. You have to be able to evolve. So I think that's a beautiful testament to that. So, my darling, I've taken so much of your time. I'm super grateful to have you. What would be your final words of wisdom to people who are doing it a bit tough right now?
yeah. My words of wisdom are: number one, yes, feel the feels. I think that when you kind of ignore your feelings or ignore, what the actual situation is, like with Glenn, his thing is he has to go to worst case scenario, and if it goes, I can figure that out, then we're going to be okay, right? But just don't stay there.
Yeah,
It's important that you don't stay there for too long.
yeah,
Yes, feel it, acknowledge it, get advice, get help, get support. And then make sure that you are spending more time in your future than you are in the present,
mm,
or in the challenge, I should say. Because when you can like dare to daydream about what's possible. And the thing is, we can all create anything that we want. We're, we are in this matrix, and it's malleable, and we can, move things around. And I know that we get into places where you go, oh my God, I know the law of attraction. Why am I struggling financially right now? Sometimes when I'm in that moment, I'm just like, well, this is for my highest good. So, yeah. I'm learning what I'm learning and figuring things out, and being curious and asking questions, and going, it's okay, it's not going to be forever, it's just for now. So that really does help to move through it.
And one of your other great friends, Jack Canfield, I remember reading his book, and he said, this is just another chapter in your success story. And I've really held on to it throughout the years. So another beautiful golden nugget of wisdom.
I know.
So
I think
beautiful.
we're all in a very gnarly part of our stories right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And just to be able to support each other, support ourselves. And I think it's holistically, diet, hydration, good quality sleep, awareness, exercise, connection to nature, all of those things that we can do as best that we can to support ourselves in every way. It's going to help 100%. So thank you, my darling. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we'll see you next time.